60% of the folks who break into a house are through the door you use every single day, and most of what you have been sold to stop them is a $500 joke. The Federal Bureau of Investigation logged over 1.1 million burglaries in 2019, and the same report shows the front door fails before the deadbolt even matters. The locks hold, the wood gives way. You are spending cash on the wrong end of the door, and the wood is what actually betrays you. Let me say one thing, then I'll leave it be. Everything I've picked up behind that counter, how to buy right the first time, what's worth your money and what ain't, I put it all in one book over at rhettcallahan.com. If you want it, it's there. That's all. Now, let's get back to it. The hype machine wants you terrified of a $700 Tactical barrage because fear sells premium kit. I'm here to tell you that 15 old school tricks still work right now in 2026, and they cost less than one trip to the range. The old-timers who built these houses knew things the gatekeepers have buried under a pile of aftermarket accessories and overpriced electronics. My name is Rhett Callahan. I stand behind a counter in Middle Tennessee, and I've seen what holds and what folds when things go sideways. I am not a guru, and I do not care about your $300 handguard. I care about the $10 fix that keeps your family breathing. Every trick on this list has a price tag, a store, and a reason. There is one trick at the very end that makes every other thing on this list useless if you skip it. We will get there. But first, you need to understand what is actually coming through your door and why the soft house on the block is the one that gets picked first. A kicked-in door is loud, but a quiet failure in the dead of winter will take your family long before a prowler does. The cardinal rule of all this is simple. You pair a specific, vivid danger with a cheap, buyable today countermeasure. No fear without a fix. No product without a purpose. We rotate the stakes because a burglar is only one threat. Cold, thirst, illness, gridlock, and an empty shelf will kill you just as dead as a home invader, and a fella who only prepares for a firearm fight is preparing for a very narrow disaster. Number 1. The danger is a boot hitting your strike plate at 2 in the morning. The deadbolt stays locked, but the pine jam around it shatters like a dry stick. The door swings open, and now a stranger is standing in the hallway between you and your kids. The stakes are your family's life, and the threat is a 60-pound kick that defeats a $90 lock because the wood behind it has the strength of balsa. The proof is in the pine. Most residential door jambs are soft pine, and a grown man can split one with a single hard kick. The fix is not a better lock. The fix is hardening the wood. You buy a box of 3-inch hardened steel screws from the hardware store for about $9. You pull the short screws out of your strike plate and you drive these long boys all the way into the wall stud behind the jamb. Now the strike plate is anchored to the skeleton of the house, not the trim. The cost is $3 a door. You just move the failure point from soft pine to structural lumber, and a boot will bounce off it. The Tactical channels sell a $200 reinforcing plate that does the same exact thing, but they cannot sell you a $9 box of screws with a straight face, so they bury it. Number 2, the grid drops and the temperature inside your living room falls to 40 degrees. A study by the Centers for Disease Control found that 53% of winter storm deaths happen to folks over 60, and hypothermia does not care if you are tough. You feel tired, you lie down, and your core temperature drops until your heart goes into an abnormal rhythm. The stakes are freezing in your own bed. The proof is a power outage in Texas in 2021. Over 200 people died, and a lot of them froze in houses that were perfectly fine the day before. The fix is reflective insulation. You buy a roll of double bubble foil insulation from the hardware store for about $40. You cut it to fit your windows and your exterior doors, and you tape it up with HVAC foil tape when the power goes out. It reflects your body heat and your backup heat back into the room instead of letting it bleed through the glass. The cost is $40 for a whole house. The influencers want you to buy a $1,500 generator you cannot afford, but a $40 roll of foil keeps a small room warm enough to survive the night for a fraction of the cost. Number 3. The pipes freeze and the water stops. A healthy adult needs about a gallon of water a day, and dehydration sets in fast. You get a headache, your joints ache, and within 3 days, your organs start to shut down. The stakes are thirst, and the danger is turning on a faucet and hearing nothing but air. The panic of a dry tap is primal, and it makes folks do stupid things. The proof is Hurricane Maria in 2017. It took months to restore water to parts of Puerto Rico, and over 2,975 people died in the aftermath, largely from a lack of basic utilities. The fix is a food-grade 55-gallon drum and a garden hose. You buy the drum used from a beverage bottler for $20, scrub it out, and fill it from the tap. 55 gallons keeps a family of 4 alive for nearly 2 weeks. The cost is 20 cents a gallon. The prepper gear sites will try to sell you a $500 pressurized water tank system, but gravity and a $20 barrel do the exact same job. You do not need pressure, you need volume. Fill the barrel, put a spigot in the bottom, and you are done. Number 4, the stove dies and you cannot cook the rice and beans you stored. You can eat them raw, but your gut will reject them and you lose the calories anyway. The stakes are starvation in a house full of food, and the danger is having a pantry full of dry goods you cannot turn into fuel. The hype machine sells $1,000 outdoor kitchens, but the old school fix is a whisper. The proof is the 2003 Northeast blackout, which left 55 million people without power for up to 4 days. People had food, but no way to cook it. The fix is a single burner butane camp stove. You buy one at the camping section of Walmart for $25 and a 4-pack of butane canisters for another $8. It boils a quart of water in under 4 minutes, and it is safe to use indoors with a cracked window. The cost is $33 total. You have a stove that cooks a meal without electricity, and it fits in a drawer. The gatekeepers say you need a cast iron wood stove, but a butane burner gets you through the exact same 4 days without the $2,000 installation. A quart of boiling water makes instant rice, rehydrates beans, and pasteurizes questionable water. Number 5, the power is out and you stub your toe on the door frame trying to find the flashlight. A fall is a serious injury, and a twisted ankle in a grid-down scenario is a death sentence if you cannot walk. The stakes are a broken bone in the dark, and the danger is the total loss of situational awareness. You cannot defend a house you cannot see, and a bump in the dark makes you pull a trigger on a shadow. The proof is the Department of Energy report that says localized grid interruptions have increased 60% over the last decade. The dark is more common than you think. The fix is solar garden lights. You buy a pack of 8 from the dollar store for $10. You put them in the yard during the day, and at night you bring them inside and drop them in a mason jar. One solar stake lights a whole room with enough ambient glow to see a doorway and move without tripping. The cost is $1.25 per light. The prepper channels sell $200 solar generators to run lamps, but a pocket full of garden stakes gives you free light every night without a battery to degrade. A mason jar diffuses the LED and your house glows. Number 6, a slow leak of carbon monoxide from a misadjusted furnace or a generator running too close to a vent takes you out while you sleep. The stakes are never waking up, and it is a threat most folks ignore entirely. You do not smell it, you do not taste it, and you just drift off and never come back. A bump in the night is terrifying, but the silent killer is the furnace. The proof is the Consumer Product Safety Commission, which estimates that 150 people die every year from carbon monoxide poisoning, and thousands more end up in the emergency room. The fix is a plug-in carbon monoxide detector with a battery backup. You buy one at the hardware store for $15 and you plug it into the wall outside the bedrooms. The cost is $15 for a device that screams before the air gets lethal. The hype machine sells smart home air quality monitors for $200 that link to your phone, but your phone is dead and your brain is shutting down. A $15 alarm is all you need. It is a simple sensor and a loud horn, and it is the difference between waking up and ending your own life in your sleep. Number 7, the stores are closed and you have a cut on your hand that is starting to turn red. Without antibiotics, a simple infection becomes sepsis, and sepsis kills you in 3 days. The stakes are a minor wound becoming a fatal illness, and the danger is the bacteria you carry on your own skin. The Tactical med kits sell tourniquets for gunshot wounds, but they ignore the splinter that kills you. The proof is the Journal of the American Medical Association, which reported that sepsis kills over 250,000 people in the United States every year. A scrape is not harmless. The fix is a tube of triple antibiotic ointment and a bottle of isopropyl alcohol from the dollar store. The ointment costs $2 and the alcohol costs $1. You clean the cut, you slather it, and you cover it. The cost is $3 for infection control. The overpriced survival kits include sutures you do not know how to use, but a $3 tube of ointment stops the infection before it starts. You are not doing surgery in the woods. You are keeping a scratch clean. The old school fix is soap and water, and the dollar store version works. Number 8, your roof leaks and water drips into your ceiling until the drywall sags and collapses onto the bed. The stakes are structural damage, a ruined room, and a cold gap in your armor for the next storm. The danger is a shingle that blew off in a windstorm, letting water rot the plywood underneath. A leaky roof is not just an annoyance, it is an opening for mold. The proof is the Insurance Information Institute, which says wind and hail cause 1 in 35 homes to file a claim every single year, averaging over $11,000 in damage. The fix is a 10 by 12 foot tarp and a roll of duct tape. You buy the tarp for $12 and the tape for $5. You fold the tarp over the ridge and tape it down tight. The cost is $17 to stop the water. The gear snobs will tell you to call a roofer, but roofers do not come in a hurricane. The tarp is a bridge until the storm passes, and the tape is your friend. The next one looks like nothing and saves your whole night because a wet floor is a slip hazard and a slip is a broken hip. Number 9, your gas line is shut off after an earthquake and your furnace blows cold air. The stakes are freezing in a modern house with no heat, and the danger is a mechanical failure you cannot fix with a wrench. The cold creeps in fast, and a house without heat drops a degree every 40 minutes. You shiver, your joints lock up, and your mind gets fuzzy. The proof is the 1994 Northridge earthquake in California, which ruptured gas lines and left folks without heat in January. The fix is a Mylar emergency blanket. You buy a pack of 10 from the camping aisle for $8. You tape one to the wall behind your bed, and the reflective Mylar bounces your body heat back onto you while you sleep. The cost is 80 cents per blanket. The survival influencers sell $400 sleeping bags, but a Mylar blanket traps 90% of your radiated body heat. You do not need a wilderness sleeping bag. You need to trap the heat your own body is already making. It is loud, it is crinkly, but it will keep your core temperature up when the furnace is dead. Number 10, the cell towers are jammed and you cannot reach your wife to tell her to come home. The stakes are a separated family trying to coordinate in a crisis, and the danger is the total loss of communications. A family that cannot talk is a family that panics, and a panicked spouse drives into danger instead of staying put. The fear of the unknown is paralyzing. The proof is the Federal Communications Commission report on Hurricane Katrina, which documented the complete failure of cellular and landline networks across the Gulf Coast. The fix is a set of two-way radios. You buy a pair of Family Radio Service walkie-talkies from Walmart for $40. They have a range of up to 2 miles in a neighborhood, and they run on standard batteries. The cost is $40 for a family lifeline. The Hype Machine sells $1,000 ham radio setups, but you are not calling overseas, you are trying to tell your wife the bridge is out. A $40 walkie-talkie does that perfectly. Keep them charged, keep them in the same drawer, and agree on a channel before the phones go dark. Number 11, you open your pantry and the cans are dented and bulging. The stakes are food poisoning, and the danger is botulism, a toxin that kills you in a matter of hours. A swollen can is a ticking bomb, and the bacteria that cause it thrive in low oxygen environments. You stored the food, but the environment betrayed you, and eating it is a terrible mistake. The proof is the Centers for Disease Control, which reports that botulinum toxin is one of the most lethal substances known, and a single taste of contaminated food can cause paralysis. The fix is a permanent marker and a roll of masking tape. You label every can with the date you bought it and rotate them. The marker costs $2 and the tape costs $1. The cost is $3 for an inventory system. The gatekeepers sell $100 rotation racks, but a Sharpie and a piece of tape on the lid does the exact same thing. You eat the oldest can first, and you never open a bulging can. Old school pantries worked on a first in, first out rotation, and it is as simple as reading a label you wrote yourself. Number 12. You slip on the icy steps and crack your tailbone. The stakes are a mobility injury that leaves you stranded, and the danger is a frozen patch of sidewalk right outside your front door. A broken hip is a life-threatening injury for an older person, and a younger person with a broken leg cannot run from a fire or a fight. The proof is the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which logged over 42,000 weather-related slip and fall injuries requiring time off work in a single year. The fix is a 50-pound bag of rock salt. You buy it at the hardware store for $8 and you keep it by the door. You spread a handful on the steps before the storm hits. The cost is $8 for a winter of traction. The Tacticool guys sell traction cleats for your boots for $60, but a bag of salt melts the ice down to the concrete. You do not need to walk on the ice, you need to melt it. Salt lowers the freezing point of water, and a thin spread keeps your steps clear all day. Number 13, your well pump dies and you have no water pressure to flush the toilet. The stakes are a sanitation crisis, and the danger is a house that smells like an outhouse in 3 days. A lack of water for hygiene spreads disease, and a toilet that will not flush is a health hazard for the whole family. The breakdown of sanitation is the start of the end. The proof is the Red Cross, which says sanitation is the #1 cause of disease in the aftermath of a disaster, and a lack of clean water for washing is more dangerous than a lack of water for drinking. The fix is a 5-gallon bucket, a pool noodle, and heavy-duty trash bags. The bucket costs $5, the bags cost $3, and the noodle costs $1. You slit the noodle down the middle and wrap it around the rim of the bucket for a seat. You line the bucket with the bag, and you add a handful of sawdust or kitty litter after every use. The cost is $9 for a functional toilet. The Survival Channel sell $300 composting toilets, but a bucket and a pool noodle get the job done. Number 14, your rifle misfeeds and the round is stuck halfway in the chamber. The stakes are a malfunction in a defensive encounter, and the danger is a piece of carbon buildup that locks the bolt to the rear. A dirty rifle is an unreliable rifle, and the fouling from cheap ammunition will stop a gun just as fast as a broken spring. The threat is a click when you need a bang. The proof is the Army's field manual on the M16 platform, which specifies that carbon fouling in the bolt carrier group is the primary cause of failure to feed and eject. The fix is a can of brake cleaner and a rag. You buy the brake cleaner from the auto parts store for $4 and you spray the bolt until the black sludge runs clear. The cost is $4 for a clean action. The gear snobs sell $50 cleaning kits with fancy solvents, but chlorinated brake cleaner does the same thing for a tenth of the cost. You spray it, you wipe it, you lube it with a drop of motor oil. The old school armorers did not have boutique solvents. They had chemicals that cut grease. Number 15, the roads are gridlocked and you cannot drive to the store. The stakes are being trapped in your neighborhood with no supplies, and the danger is a panic buy that empties the shelves before you get there. A run on the grocery store happens in hours, and the shelves are bare before the emergency is even declared. The soft house is the one with nothing in it. The proof is the Federal Emergency Management Agency, which recommends at least a 2-week supply of food and water, and the average American household has less than 3 days. The fix is a 20-pound bag of white rice and a 20-pound bag of pinto beans. You buy both for about $25 at any grocery store. They sit in airtight buckets and last for decades. The cost is $25 for a month of calories. The Prepper channels sell $1,000 freeze-dried meal kits, but rice and beans have kept civilizations alive for centuries. You do not need gourmet, you need calories and protein. The old school pantry was a sack of grain and a sack of legumes, and that combination is a complete protein that will keep you moving. The thing I told you about at the start, the one trick every other item on this list is useless without. It is not a gadget, it is not a tool, and you cannot buy it at the store. It is a piece of paper and a conversation. The withheld payoff is a family emergency plan. If your wife does not know where the water barrel is, she cannot drink it. If your son does not know the radio channel, he cannot call for help. help. A house full of gear is a museum if the people living in it do not know how to use it. The cost is $0 and 30 minutes of your time. You sit down at the kitchen table with a piece of paper and you write down 4 things. You write down where the water is, where the medical kit is, what the radio channel is, and where the meetup spot is if the house catches fire. You hand a copy to every person old enough to read. The biggest failure in a crisis is not a broken tool. It is a broken family communication. The gear is useless if the tribe does not know the plan. You have to do the work. Do not just watch this and nod. Go to the hardware store today and buy the $9 box of 3-inch screws. Put them in your strike plate before you lock up tonight. Buy the $15 carbon monoxide detector and plug it in. Tape the Mylar blanket to the wall behind the bed. Do 3 things before you go to sleep tonight, and you are a harder target than the whole rest of your street. We do not panic, we position. We are building a tribe of folks who are ready, not scared. The hype machine wants you afraid, so you will buy their expensive gear, but you know better now. You know the 15 tricks that actually work and the one plan that holds them together. Which of these do you already run at your house? Tell me the one I missed. I read every single comment because the best ideas come from the folks doing the work. If you want to know what to do when the power goes out for 3 days, the next walkthrough is exactly what